Hello, my name's Amalia Scalos, and I'm here with my grandma. This is Rosemary Meunier Scalos, and she's going to be talking to us about the Vietnam War, and I have some questions to ask you.
Right.
So, the first question we have is, do you think America should have been involved in the Vietnam War, considering all the deaths and impacts that it had on America?
No, I think it should not have been in the Vietnam War. We lost a lot of men. We lost a lot of young men. We lost a lot of respect from people around the world because we meddle in other people's businesses when we shouldn't be in other people's businesses. It was a war that we should not have been in.
Our second question, which I guess is a good lead-in from the last question, is, do you know any individuals who were involved in the Vietnam War, and how did this affect them?
Yes, I had a nephew, Michael Glazer, and he was right out of high school and Citadel College, and he was drafted into the Army because of his military associations. He went to Vietnam, spent 2 years, 3 years in Vietnam, came home and had all kinds of physical conditions related to the Agent Orange that was used to kill the foliage so that the people would stop shooting and killing Americans by the hundreds and hundreds.
Mm-hmm. And that was because of the tall grass that you're talking about? That was in Vietnam?
It was a very swampy country, and in that swamp were these reeds that would grow maybe 3 or 4 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
The Vietnamese soldiers would hide in the weeds and you couldn't see them. Americans would advance through these tall weeds and something like our swamps. And as soon as they got close enough, then the Vietnamese would stand up and just mow them down with machine guns. And we lost a lot of people.
So the Agent Orange was a design by the Americans to help kill the foliage?
Help kill the foliage so that they wouldn't be hiding in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it left so many residues on the infantrymen and the Marines and all the people fighting on their skin. It penetrated their systems and contaminated their systems to the point where once they came back to the United States, they had to be decontaminated, then they were put through the hospital. Mm-hmm. And that's when they found so many different things that would happen. And this young man, Michael, was in there for 2 or 3 years, and when he came home, he was permanently disabled. He is still permanently disabled, and it even tracked down to his children who have physical disabilities.
So our third question is, did you know anyone that opposed or draft dodged the war?
I didn't know anyone personally, but I heard of a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And the young men, instead of wanting to be drafted or what have you, get a notice, they would go out of the country. They would go to Mexico or they'd go to Canada. Mm-hmm. Because there was no passports or entries other than just crossing the border, pay your fare, and go in. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of them, but I never knew any.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to go because they didn't want to get involved in a war, or they?
Well, they were killing so many of the Australians and the Americans that were in the war that, yes, people got to the point where there was quite a few of them that would not go to it.
Yeah. So our fourth question is, do you think you were impacted at all by the Vietnam War? I think that...
No, we didn't have any rationing like World War II. World War II, they rationed food, they rationed shoes, they rationed clothing. Everything. You get 2 pairs of shoes a year, and if you wore your shoes out, then you better just put cardboard in them and go on with them. It's particularly up in the snow where I was raised. We wear out our shoes pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But Vietnam, no, we didn't have a shortage. Maybe a little bit of gas here and there or something like that. But as far as food or meat and something, no. And we didn't have any food stamps or anything like that, or tokens or money, because they were using the silver or big bullets.
Mm-hmm. And then our last question is, Lyndon B. Johnson and Richard Nixon were both the presidents involved during the Vietnam War. Do you approve of them making the decision to go into the war, or did you dislike them for that?
No, the whole consensus of the country was against the war from the word go. And how we got into it and why we got into it, it's still a mystery to me. I'm still trying to figure it out because there were so many things that we lost, people we lost, and you just can't replace them.
Just segueing into today, do you think we should be involved in wars that we aren't the country that should be involved in the war?
No, just like over in the Far East there, and close to Russia, and the Americans that just wandered into a harbor and got into the foreign country borders, and we almost lost 6 or 8 Navy personnel at this time. So no, they shouldn't be over in those things.
Okay. Thank you for having us, Meemaw.